Everybody, welcome. I appreciate you joining us on this wonderful Thursday afternoon, and I think we've got a really special webinar lined up for us. We'll be talking to Ken Stone, who you see on your screen, and this multi-million-dollar mindset, and we'll delve into that a little bit. But Ken, thank you so much for joining us, and I really appreciate you taking this time.
Matt, thank you for having me. It's always a good time and exciting time for us when we get to have a conversation.
Yeah, that's right. We were talking before we actually hit start, and they had to tell us to stop for a
Pop
second.
there, right,
Start.
right, right. Just
But
natural.
yeah, that's right. Well, but Ken, you're the president and CEO of Stone Financial Retirement Planning. You're one of the greats that I love speaking with all the time. I get to work with you, and it's a privilege to me. I am the senior VP of consulting here at Bill Good Marketing. We've known each other a long time.
Yes,
You've been
yes.
working with us for a long time. I left Bill Good and came back, and we
Yeah, I'm
picked
still
up where we
here.
left off. But let me tell you a little bit. If you're joining us, if you've never joined one of our webinars before, we do appreciate questions. We'd love you to participate. And if you have any questions, please drop them into the housekeeping area. You'll see the chat box down here at the bottom. Just go ahead and click on that and type in your questions, and we'll address them as we can. Also, pay attention to that because periodically we may throw some links in there for you to see. The other thing is you are going to want to wait to the very end of this webinar because we have a great goodie bag. We're going to give you the Referral Consciousness book. It's 15 pages of all the different things of developing referrals. It's something that Ken's going to talk about in our discussion today, and it's going to really help us keep moving forward. So that said, I think with all that out there, I want to talk briefly about Bill Good Marketing as a whole and what we do here. We are here to help. We want to help great financial advisors just do more and double their production or work half as much has been the promise for a long time. We do that by helping in every aspect of the business. Now, if there is any problem with your growth, the team, if you're frustrated with the day-to-day stuff, we do conduct a free analysis for you. Our team here would be happy to do that. When you go in and answer a few brief questions at the end of the webinar, you'll get the guidebook, but also ask for the help on the business analysis. And a team member will walk through with you, ask you some questions and dig in and help you find maybe where those trouble spots that can help you move forward from there. So that's my brief commercial aside, and now I get to just have a great conversation because that's what this is all about. So, Ken, you and I were talking the other day, and we were talking in particular about this mindset because you've been working, getting into this mindset for a while, and everything is clicked in now. To me, this is honestly about everything is the mindset, right?
Yeah.
The how we're looking at how things are going and how we're approaching things. So why don't you share with us what is this mindset you've kind of gone into this year with, and why do you feel like that's driving things?
Matt, I say that you want to be intentional with anything you do. It seemed even before COVID, but particularly after COVID, it seems like the world and everything else we're doing is just so confused and just uh, helter-skelterish. And so the things that we used to be able to do that seem to be easy are not easy. You know, you got compliance issues, you got clients that are confused. Heck, sometimes I'm confused, right? You know, and so what we have to do is say to ourselves, and we can get very frustrated because our business has gotten more challenging. You know, I've been in since '83, so it's gotten a lot more challenging since then. And what I decided was, wait a minute, I'm in one of the best businesses opportunities that you can still get in America. You don't have to put any real money in the beginning to get started. It's sweat equity, it's, you know, and you got to pound the payment, so to speak,
Mhm.
but you can still get started that way and then go at it. But if I let the world and its negativity get to me, then I become negative, and then all of a sudden I don't like my business, I don't like my clients because they're crying about different stuff, and you know it's just a negative thing. So long and short, I said, you know what? That I'm not a negative person, so I've got to get out of this thing. And so I started looking around and I said, let's look at and focus on the positive things that we can do. And I quite frankly, I prayed. I said, look, man, I don't like this business very much anymore, but I love what I do to help people. And then it dawned on me, it's like, look, I get to help people in a time when they need the most help. When I look at it this way, outside of your health, your finances is the most important thing second to that, right? Because it everything drives off of that. And people really do need help. There's a lot of confusion out here. Folks don't know what to do, don't know where to turn, don't know how to start. And so with that in mind, I said, look, I'm going to look at the positive. And if I can do anything in this negative world that we got today, regardless of if you're on the left, you're on the right, you're up, you're down, or whatever, you got to say, look, can we help people? And if I left here today, would somebody said, you know what, that guy really tried to help me and do the right thing by me, and my family and my life was better off because of it. So with that in mind, I said I'm intentional about it. I changed my mind about how I felt about my business, and quite frankly, I'm more excited about it today than I actually have been when I first started. And I just feel like we should look at it's noble what we do, and we should look at it and say, we're here and we really do help people. And that's important.
Oh no, 100%. And I think it's one of those things that I think we can all get a little down, right? Because it is
Mhm.
complex, it is difficult, and we get stuck in the minutia. But then also, like, there's other things out there. The media constantly puts down advisors because hey, we charge for what we do, and how horrible is that? Um,
Don't
there's
get me
all kinds of
started.
yeah, right. But there's all kinds of things out there. But I think the focus is, and this is the reason why in our weekly team meeting agenda that we recommend folks is the very first thing we do is share those success stories.
Yes.
Um, you dive in. Let's talk about how we have changed lives because that is, as you described, that is what we're doing in this industry is helping people. Yeah, we're handling the finances and the legal stuff, but it's helping them achieve their dreams, and that is
Yes.
so critical. And now I want to dive into this because we've got five big things to discuss. Because mindset is one thing, but
Yes.
once the mindset is set, you've got to
How do
put
you do it?
systems to keep it in place and make sure it
Yes.
moves forward. And
Yes.
you've kind of done that a lot with the foundations. And really, obviously, it always comes down to time. First off, in the day, there's only so much time, and
Yes.
therefore, the only way I've found personally to create new time is to bring in team. And
Yes.
then and that is what you've done. And you've brought in a great team of Ray and Barb,
Mhm.
and they are phenomenal. I think personally at
Mhm.
protecting your time. I've
Yes.
run a wrath of their problems because I've made mistakes and not going to them
Yeah.
like I should have because they protect you, and that
Yes.
is so critical. So why don't we start with Ray, who's been with you a little longer, otherwise they're equal,
Yes.
but been with you a little longer. Uh, Tell us about Ray. Like, what does she do? What are some of her traits? Just tell us about her.
Well, I tell you, Ray is my executive assistant, and she's been with me really around 20 years. And the thing that we have is we got a great, she's my, what we call my office wife. And my wife at home allows that to happen, as my office wife. And so what she does is that she helps guard my time in the effect of just making sure that when clients come in, that she takes care of pretty much all of the administrative calls. When somebody calls and they want money, they want to roll over something, they want to bring something in, they need looking or help. An example would be we need to set up with wills and all that stuff. She's very versed on all of those things. And the beauty of it is that she's got a what I call a helping heart. She wants to help, and that's good. And like I said, we got a good rhythm, and she tries to keep me on pace, always asking me, "Hey, what are you thinking about? What can I help you with?" And the challenge part that I have, quite frankly, and still trying to get better at, is that I got to make sure I delegate. That's how you actually can spend more time in doing what you need to do. Is that you have to pass things on. And so Ray will tell me every now and then, "Can't quit hoarding stuff." Give us this stuff so we can get it done. And you sitting there like trying to figure out why am I, whatever,
Yeah,
just in
yeah.
my own head, right? She's like, give me this stuff so we can get it done. So she's that person, and I have 100% confidence in her. and the clients do too, because she's been with me so long. I would say 90% of the calls that come into my office, if they're not for, and even if it's a set appointment, they take care of that. But they come and they call and they talk to Ray. And at one time I used to joke, like, I'm kind of upset. Don't nobody want to call and talk to me. You know, they just want to talk to Ray. And matter of fact, they tell Ray, don't tell Ken I'm doing this. Of course, she comes and tells me, but they say, well, don't tell Ken this. This is what I want to do, Ray.
Just
No,
between us, yeah.
right. Yeah. And like, okay, I tell people like really quickly, I say, I'm just a figurehead here. That's all. But
Yeah,
but no,
right.
but we've got a good working relationship we have. And I think the key to the whole thing is that she's in her right space and has, a like I said, a giving heart and wants to give. And quite frankly, it is good for me to delegate to and challenges me to make sure that I do it. And that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, no, so what you've done there, and what I love, and we've talked about this before. To me, the number one thing every team member must have is they have to have very clear expectations, and
Mhm.
then and that those expectations are what is the end result, right? So what is
Yes.
the product they are produce, and Ray knows that product, and then you've given her complete ownership of that product, which
Absolutely.
allows
Yeah.
her to come at you, right? So if you are interfering with producing that product, she will tell you and she will let you know that, look, Ken, you're in the way. Hand me
I'm the
this stuff,
bottleneck.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So that is the critical piece. So if for those listening, if you don't have a job description that lists a product, if your job description just lists some of the duties you're thinking of, those are fine. That's the second part to a job description. But the most important piece is that final product. What are they to produce? And then give them complete ownership of delivering
Mhm.
that. And as long as you do that, then you'll have somebody like Ray who has the personality traits, but then more importantly says, hey, look, Ken or whoever, Robert or Tom or whoever's on all those that are on this call, get out of the way. I'm producing this,
Mhm.
you produce what you produce, I'm doing what I need to do, and that's what we want with this. So let's move into Barb. Tell us about Barb and her role.
I'm gonna tell you about Barb, but let me say this too, Matt, because I
Yes,
think
please.
it's really important. When I think about this, both Barb and Ray, but particularly Ray, what they do is protect my confidence, right? And that's really important because when I come in, I operate like a doctor. I come in and they give me the things that I'm looking for. We reviewed it, but everything's in place, and I'm expecting everything that she's handed me, product, to be correct. So when I go to the client or prospect, then I know what's on this sheet is what it needs to be.
Mhm.
And then what I do for her is I protect her confidence that, and when we do these things, if something were to backfire, somebody were to say something, and people do, I know that I know her so well that I can tell when somebody is not saying a truthful thing, and I'll have her back as well, and she knows that. And if there is a snafu, we work through the snafu when it's not an issue because we're there to protect each other's confidence. I just want to say that because that's important as
No,
well.
it is very important, and thank you for sharing that too. So, and that I 100% agree. So let's dive into Barb though.
Okay, Barb is and been with me about 4 or 5 years, and I love her spirit. And she is kind of like our first impression person when you come through the door, and she really takes ownership of that. And she gives us a real, what I call a real good flavor when you call up and you speak to Barb, because she's very regimented in the sense that we have protocols and systems in place for just about everything you do. Well, Barb's going to make sure you are held, you're held to those things.
Mhm.
And
Yes, she
again,
will.
now please don't tell her this, and I'm not going to show it, but she's like my own sales manager too. Like, Ken, you said you were going to call this person. You're going, and I love it in a way, but I don't want to encourage it too much. But the good thing is that they take care of things. They make sure that every meeting is the way it should be. Like, there's a particular way we like to run our meetings in the office. They always make sure that we have an agenda in place. Barb makes sure that that happens when we do our seminars and what's not, which we'll probably talk a little bit later. Barb goes with me with that, and it's just the professionalism that she has and how she operates, and again with total integrity and honesty and a straightforward way that I think that is just really kind of special. That's different from me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
I just love it. But no, Barb is excellent as well.
I love the traits that you're listing there because to me this is key. So if I when I look at an advisor's business like yours, right? There, it doesn't matter the size. You have
Mhm.
team members total, including you, and I've worked with teams that have 10, and it doesn't matter. There are three departments, and what I love that you've done is you found the personality traits and the key characteristics that fit each of those three departments, right? You're covering the advising department, which is central,
Yes.
right? And you continually better yourself in that area too. I'm not going to ask you to talk about yourself, but I'm going to talk about you. Because
Thank you.
you constantly strive to better yourself. You're always going to things to try to learn. You're going to conferences. You're going to different continuing education things to try to pick up more and gain more knowledge, and that's critical in that department. The other department is the service department, which is Ray, right? Where
Yes.
we
Mhm.
we need to both administratively, which is paperwork side, and service, right, and
Yes.
proactively help protect the advising, but also protect and help the client. And Ray does act that part completely.
Mhm.
In having worked with you and as you described, it's what she does. And then Barb is kind of in this outreach department, which is the
Yes.
other department, and that outreach can take on many different aspects. I mean, you could say put a cold caller in the outreach department, but it's everything to do with what is our team doing to communicate with the community as a whole. And Barb really kind of takes all that on, including the somebody walks in the office, as you called the director of first impressions.
Yes.
That's what she takes on. And what's I love about her, my story with Barb is I talk to you every 2 weeks, and
Right.
every I talk twice a month. I call and I talk to her. She knows my number, she recognizes it, and yet every single time she greets me with the same script,
Yes.
and I know it. I know the script. I helped write it, but she uses the
Yeah.
script, and it sounds good every time. And it
Every time.
sounds
Yeah.
because she truly means it, and I love that about her. Because she'll greet me in, and she'll take care of me if she
Yes.
needs to, and put me in my place if I mess something up.
Oh,
But
yes.
she does it in such a kind, straightforward way. Like you said, it's a unique thing,
Mhm.
and then she protects you also,
Yes.
and I love that about her. So we've got the three departments that are all functioning. But so now let's talk briefly. Let's talk about how you found Barb, because obviously she's been there a while. She's newer to the
Yes.
team. How did we find Barb, and how if an advisor is out there looking for, hey, I need a director of first impressions, what are they looking for in that person?
Well, the I would say I found Barb. I went through a headhunting agency,
Mm,
and the key thing that I was looking for is that you're looking for somebody who likes to complete assignments,
mhm.
you know, and so and they get into that and they take that and they have ownership in it. So one of the criteria that I had is that I was looking for someone who was sharp, that still had a lot of enthusiasm and life in them. And like I said, because you're right, she does computer operations, you know, a computer, you know, does CO job. And then she's a backup to even Ray. And then she works with me on the seminars and does other outreach type things with clients. And so I need somebody who has energy, but also when you give them assignment, you don't have to worry about them completing the assignment. You know, Barb's favorite word with us here or with me is chop, chop, chop. You know what I mean? You know, I got to get something done. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And so the way that works is that I did use a headhunter agency, but I also, you know, this is maturity. I think I realized what I need was somebody who was more in tune to getting things done. And that's something an implementer versus somebody who is going to be creative or looking
yeah,
for something else. A lot of what Bill Good's system is about is implementing. And so that's what you need somebody to do is to be able to implement.
yeah, definitely, and that execution is critical, and it's
Yeah.
something that you guys have been doing. And what I love about this team that you set up and all of this structure that's been in place is that is what's helped us with referrals because as you
Yes.
and I have talked over the years, the referrals that you received have started to increase, and it's
Yeah.
because of all of these systems and processes. So when we think about the referral system that you've developed, because it is a system. This isn't accidental. Referrals aren't
No.
just randomly happening. This is
Mm-mm.
this is a system. What are some of the key pieces of your referral system that you feel are in particular what's driving the referrals coming in?
I'll say it quickly. It's Ray and Barb
Yeah.
because the service, a lot of times we can mess up in a lot of ways. Let me just talk straight. But if you service someone and you show that you're an advocate for them and that you care for them and that you go the extra mile for them, Matt, I mean, think about it today. Where do you go and get that? I want it for myself, and so
Yeah.
that's the kind of service that we provide clients that they want to have other people, friends and family, come and visit and be with us, and so
Yeah.
that's one of the what I call the ground pieces that we have in place foundational. It's really the service that Barb and Ray delivers to the clients it really is exceptional. I mean, if I have to say so myself.
Yeah, good. Well, so to me, there's a few things that knowing them and what they do that really kind of drive that to your point, and that the very first one is keeping track of the information, right?
Yeah,
So they log everything, and they
absolutely.
keep track of that in order to make sure that hey, so and so called, and then the second piece is communication.
Yeah.
So you guys have a weekly team meeting, right?
And we have a daily. We do what we call a morning huddle, uh,
Awesome.
10 or 15 minutes every morning, just to kind of say who's on first, who's on second.
Yeah.
And to your point, Matt, just to say this is that when we're on the phone with clients, like example, we had a client that was in Baltimore, and when some of these things, there was a bad storm, and now with the bridge falling, one of our clients, Barb, thought about this and reached out to that client and just sent them something and let them know that we were concerned about them. And so those little things happen. And so when Ray's talking to someone and they say, well, I haven't been feeling too well, and all of these kind of things, again, the Bill Good letters and the systems, they automatically flow. A lot of times I don't even know. They'll tell me later, hey, Ken, something's going on with this person, that person, but they automatically use the system in order to be able to reach out to those people. And I can tell you, um, we've done very, very well with people behind the fact that someone received a letter, and obviously we send flowers and other little things like that. But it means so much to people, and so they want to tell other people about you.
And that's 100% true. And that was one of the things that I think is critical. And the third piece, and that is that proactive focused service. And comes back to the mindset that you talked about. And
Mhm.
part of that mindset is created because you do have these systems and processes for your team to be talking to the clients. But then you, in this weekly team meeting, you're sharing successes. You're talking through
Mhm.
these clients and these people, and that is the focus in the office. And you can't help but when you're focused on the people you're serving to be thinking about things like that like oh yeah no so and so is over in Baltimore, we need to reach out and check in on them, or hey so and so is in the Midwestern states and I saw those tornadoes come through, we need to check on them, and hey I heard so and so is going to be getting this promotion, we need to send them a letter and congratulate
Mhm.
them. There's all those things happen when you are proactively thinking about the clients, and I think that's something that your team has done pretty well. And then the other piece is the checklists and the processes. You mentioned that you follow the Bill Good system, but you guys have checklists for things you do.
Yeah,
So when somebody's getting ready for an appointment, you've got a form,
yeah,
and Barb insists that it gets filled out, and you guys go through all the pieces, right?
that's right. You better believe it. It fills out everything, man.
Yeah. But that ensures that consistent experience.
Yes.
And that experience is what's absolutely critical because then they can go talk to their friends about it. And then the final piece that I wanted to ask you about is of this referral system that I think is critical is you guys have picked up your referral promotion and letting people know what to look for and all that. And um, I guess what's been your experience in referral promotion? Because I know some advisors are hesitant to do it. They make they feel like it's going to be awkward. But what's been your experience?
Well, Matt, to be candid with you, and I'm glad you brought that up because the other side of it is I ask, and we put it in our monthly drips that, hey, listen, we look for good people to help. If you like what you've been receiving and you'd like somebody else that you care about to have the same kind of service, you can always give us a call and we'll do a second opinion with them. And if it's personal, face to face, I tell them I'll never embarrass them. I'll just tell them, even if I go, oh boy, that's not a good one. But at the same time, I will always talk to the person and make sure that they're comfortable and they walk away with a high regard of who we are. But to your point, though, I wanted to make sure to tell you, we ask. We don't, well, I ask them. I think I've earned the right to ask them. And I had to get that out of my head because so many years I used to have that in my head. I couldn't ask them and all that other stuff. No, you can ask them and tell them what you're looking for. That was the bigger part, not just asking, but saying, here's who
Yeah,
we're looking for. We're not looking for $2.50. And I hope that
yeah.
doesn't offend anybody, but that's
We
not what we're looking
best
for.
help these folks. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
No, that's perfect. Well, we actually had a question that came in, and I think this fits perfectly right here, and that is that so when we're reaching out to clients proactively,
Hmm.
and the team is doing that, what are some of the key things that you guys are touching on when you're reaching out to clients, and what kind of script or is there a script you're following?
Well, typically what we do is just ask them. It's kind of like following the 90-day no contact is what you're really doing a lot of times. But I'll
Mhm.
tell you something else that might be of real value is that, and I didn't use it a lot, but we use it a lot now and it helps, uh, is that opportunity list.
Mm,
Make sure that whenever you talk to clients, and I don't care, they got a CD coming due or somebody's getting ready to retire or something like that. You need reminders that are meaningful. And so to answer the question is I call and we usually talk about things that are meaningful. And so we also call on a regular basis about clients coming in to sit down and do a annually or quarterly review, depending on the level in which they are part of our company. But so, we are ongoingly asking them, hey, how can we help you? What is it that you need? And then just having just a general conversation. Hey, Pete, how you doing, man? Is everything okay with you? Listen, we haven't seen you in a while. A lot of clients been with me so long. They say, Ken, is everything fine? I go, yes. Then I know if I say that, they're not coming to see me. They say, well, wait a minute, I got all your money over here. Why don't you come and see me? But no, we're proactive in calling them on the things that we should. If you
mhm.
haven't talked to a person in a long time, call them and say, listen, I was thinking about you, wanted to find out what was going on with you, and if you want to come on in and see me. And Bill Good said this one time, and it's really true. He says serendipity happens when you just do things. So
Mhm.
even if you don't think or know that there's money due, if you will, but you thought about the person, call them up and then
Mhm.
just have a natural conversation with them. And then just say, listen, I was thinking about you. And listen, questions, or you want to come in and review? I haven't seen you in a while. Come on in and see me. And I mean, it's good.
Yeah. Oh no, totally. And I think this, talking about your mindset, like that mindset of look, like I'm going to focus, I'm going to help everybody I possibly can, and so it is that activity, and it is the serendipity and all that. But I've always said too that activity breeds activity. When you're
Yes.
active and you're out there, and it used to always amaze me. We'd go and do something big, and with a group of clients or partners or whatever, and inevitably somebody that had nothing to do with that would call in with a friend that needed to talk to us,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you're experiencing the same thing.
I call that digging in the left corner and the blessing comes out the right.
Right. Well, that is how it goes, and so you mentioned, the monthly drip, which is just making sure a monthly for those that don't know about that, it's making sure that every client gets a monthly message that's on a topic of their interest, and so we've got a huge letters library that,
Mhm.
you use, and you're able to then write these as if they're yours, and you had said something the other day in our call that I absolutely loved, and you said, "Even when I'm not talking to them, I'm talking to them." And
Oh,
and
yeah.
I love that, right?
Yeah.
So why don't you describe that? What is that?
Well, here's the thing, and to that person who said, "Well, what do you talk to the people about when you call them and whatnot?" Well, listen, I'm going to tell you, every now and then we get off track just like everybody else. But one thing we do, we send out monthly drips like nobody else does. And so between the times that maybe we should have missed you, you're not the 90-day, maybe you're 180. You know
Yeah.
what? You don't feel like you've been neglected because you got a ton of mail. One of my clients came to me and says, Ken, you really love writing a lot, don't you? He's a newer client, but he's like, you send these things out all the time. But they were excited about getting them because they explain things to them in ways that they know, and it calms them down a lot of times. And so therefore the mail has done a really good job where if I don't have to call them, you know what I mean? But it's always good to call them because, like you said, activity breeds activity. That's how that goes.
Oh, totally. And so you had an experience with a gentleman that you hadn't been reaching out to yourself just because you thought you knew the situation, and then
Yeah.
you had him come to a workshop, and then now suddenly it was a much bigger situation, right?
Yo, listen, I have to laugh. When I first started work, I used to work for one of the big firms. I don't know if you say their names or anything, but we used to work for them. And then when we would have people come in, and this is back in '83, so you'd have folks come in, they have three, four, $500,000, maybe $1 million, and you look at them and you go, "There's no way this person has this kind of money," and they do. And so after a while,
Yeah.
in order for me not to look like with my mouth wide open, I used to sit like this, keep my mouth shut, right? Well, so here comes this client I know that has like $250,000 with me, and I'm thinking we got a so-so relationship. It's okay. This guy starts pulling out all these accounts. He says, "Can I?" At the workshop, he says, "Ken, I'm going to come and see you." I said, "Okay, is everything okay?" He says, "Everything's fine. I'm just coming to see you." Man, this guy gets through pulling out accounts. There was another 250, no, $2.5 million that I had no idea. And here I think I know everything, And
Yeah.
so, and as a result of that, Matt, we've now got 2 million, and we're looking to get the next 500,000 from that.
Yeah. That's awesome. And all of that from talking to him, but not talking
Yes,
to
talking to
him.
him, but not talking to him, not getting on his nerve.
That's right. And that's the power of those monthly messages, and I
Yes,
love
sir.
that. And it's absolutely critical for the referral system. And so I'm going to bring in another note here. Again, if you have any questions, please drop them into the chat or into the Q&A section. And then again, stay tuned to the very end when you can get the goodie bag, because again, that is about, as Ken talks about, what is his system for getting referrals. That is described in that referral consciousness book. So I want to quickly move into, we got a few other areas to discuss. And one of those is one that I bet a lot of the advisors listening to have experienced, because you experienced it and have had to kind of move in. And that is this whole idea that you start in the industry and you're a youngin', right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
you start working with these older professionals that are CPAs, attorneys, and it
Yes.
works great until
That's
you're
it.
a little more seasoned and you're a little bit more of a veteran, and now suddenly they're all retiring on you, and now your CPA and your attorney is no longer sending you business, and they're no longer necessarily the most viable option to send business to, which is something you've been going through. And so it's a, how do you take it, how do you move on from that? And you've been kind of going through that for the last several months and have had some pretty good experiences in that. So let's just talk through it. Why don't you tell us the story of what's been happening, who you had, and what we're moving to?
Well, what a part of what we do, I try to position us almost like a little boutique, kind of like a family office light, you know.
Yeah.
So if you come here, we've got the attorney that we can help you with to do wills, trusts, that kind of thing. We've got insurance analysts that we can help you with, and then if you have other types of needs for lawyer, Medicaid, and all this other stuff, I don't do any of these. These are people that we can refer to. So you're correct, and accountants, and so we've got folks that are aging out as I'm aging up, they're aging out. And so one of the things is that you have to look for other centers of influence. And to be candid with you, there's so much information out here right now that's so plus and minus about center of influences. Does it work? How does it work? If it works at all. And so again, talking about mindset, that's one of the things that I said that I would do. When you've been in the business as long as I have, you pretty much have done this, done that, and sometimes it's easy for me to say been there, done that, and now you don't want to do it. Well, that's actually the wrong mindset. So as you laid out, hey, Ken, I need you to go out here and get some, which I come because now I'm getting clients, I need to refer them, and I don't have anybody really to refer them to, which is also another great way that they become sticky with us, is because they've got an extended relationships that have been very impactful and important. So long story short, I said, okay, I get back out here and I start going after these center of influences. And quite frankly, with a different mindset of, listen, just go out here and, like you said, have fun. See I'm at a stage where I'm not thirsty and drowning if they say yes or no. And I don't have to worry if I don't think they're going to do no business. That's okay. Go on somewhere else.
Yep.
It's not a big deal, right? It's okay. But at the same time, I find it interesting. I'm going out having great lunches with people who have just it maybe tell you a story of something, you know what I mean? And you're going, well, wait a minute, let's stay on this. Now I do have a script for that, and Bill has that. And believe it or not, I pull the paper out and I go, look, I'm paying for this lunch. We're gonna sit down here and go through all of these points. And trust me and believe me, we do. But
Yeah.
with that, it comes, I've run into some very good people that can be center of influences for us. And we're developing those relationships, and it's working really neat. And also, it's kind of funny. I don't know, at my gym, I've been at my gym. It's a high end gym for like forever. And all of a sudden now I tell my wife, I said, I seem like I'm hot. Everybody's coming asking me these different questions about things that are financial and whatnot. And it's kind of cute. Some of them pertain directly to me, then others don't. But being able to refer someone to someone else can lead to things. And so I'm really loving the whole idea of getting out here and meeting people. And you never know, because in our case, I need them. I do need people to be good that I can refer clients to and know they get taken care of, and then treat our clients with a VIP difference, and that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. And there's a couple of things I want to highlight for those listening, because this is something that you do really well, that you kind of slipped in there, and I want to I want to bring it even more to light.
Yeah.
And that is, the number one thing is you are picky. You get to
Yes.
decide, right?
Yeah,
And this is
that's right.
this is partly experience, but it's partly that mindset, right?
Yeah.
And coming back to that you decided your clients deserve X level of service. And if somebody doesn't meet that, we don't have time for them, right? We don't have time for that. So you'll call them, you'll try to meet with them, but if they're not going to get up to here, we move on kindly. We're not going to
Yeah.
be mean, but we just move on, and let's get to that person that we find. And you're scheduling these for lunches. That's the key piece right there. And
Mhm.
you've got a list of questions for them. I like how you kind of said that. It is a little bit of a flip the script, right? Usually when
Yeah.
these folks are meeting with advisors, it's a whole lot of, well, I'm Mr. Advisor. Let me tell you about me and what makes
No,
me so
no.
special. And here's my brochure and all that. And you're coming in and said, no, I got questions. Let's
Oh,
get to
yeah.
business.
Oh, and you're going to answer them.
Yeah. And I love that, because that's what they want too, right? They want to know
Yeah.
somebody's going to get down to business and be able to not just refer to them, but actually help, right? And I think that's what you're providing in this whole process. Now, so at the end of the first meeting, how are at the end of the lunch, if you're saying, "Hey, this is a good," because I know you've had a couple of these where by the end of the lunch you're like, "Hey, this could work." What's kind of your thought process from there? What do you take them on from there at the end of the meeting? How do you close that out?
Well, what I typically do is that when we close out, I said, listen, I'm going to send you, because I don't give them anything but a card from me. But we have like a resource kit that I use. And I said, I'm going to send you my resource kit. And then we'll go from there. And then potentially within like 60 days, I'll call up again and let's go out again to have lunch. And the good thing about it, these guys at that point, they're not looking for me to buy lunch all the time. They're going to want to buy the lunch, and so we're building a relationship. And so I go about it that way. And then and the good thing is, because we're actively having clients and there's certain things that we do, it allows for me to be able to refer to them pretty quickly. That's the thing we do. We refer out. The thing is getting people to refer back. And so
Yeah.
I can refer to them pretty quickly, and that helps gets the ball rolling, if you will. And so that's what I look to try to do within the 90-day window. But
Mhm.
within that first, after we meet, go say, hey, great. So have them send a little letter, nice meeting with you, and then all of a sudden we send a resource kit. And then within like 60 days, try to get back with them again to say, let's talk again. Let's meet some more and see where we go from there.
Yeah. Oh, it's perfect. And I love all that because when you say try, I know that to Barbara means, hey, it's happening.
Yeah, it's going. Yeah.
So that's good. So that's and then again, back that's the key why we have
Yeah.
to have those
Ooh,
team players.
yeah.
So let's move on to the next topic because we've got two more things I want to make sure we
Yes.
touch on for folks. But
Yes.
again, if you have any questions, please drop them out there because we'd be happy to answer. But the next thing we want to talk about is seminars, right?
Yes.
You've been doing seminars for a long time, and
Yes.
you've provided them, and the topics have changed over time. But to me, what was interesting, and when you and I talked about this is one of the reasons why I'm like, okay, Ken's got to get out there and talk to others because it's a message that I'd like a lot of advisors to hear. Is you've gone beyond just changing the overall topic, and you're constantly trying to troubleshoot to do better in your seminars. Come back to that mindset. So
Yes.
you've recently gone through a big change, and why don't we talk? Let's talk about your seminars overall.
Okay.
How do you run them? And because there's always the debates of dinner, no dinner. There's the college or restaurant or all that stuff, and then how do you structure it? You've already mentioned barb attends, but let's talk about that a little bit. And then in particular, I want to talk about the presentation, what you've done for getting appointments, because that's really where you've done a lot of really good work. So want to walk us through all that?
Okay. Well, the seminar that the well, first of all, I've done a lot of those. Let me buy you something good to eat, right? And so I've done those. And to be candid with you, after a while, it just seems like those run flat for me. And when they do, I have a thing about just feeding people and I just don't like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
now I've been into this more of an educational workshops, kind of more like off the Chad Henry deal, where
Mhm.
we're doing Social Security and whatever. And I found that to be really, I love it. I just absolutely love it. And so we serve just tater chips, pops, and some little refreshments like that, nothing big. And we have a little workbook that we use, and we just do the Social Security seminar. And I think, Matt, the thing that I would love to say to everybody, if they're being realistic about it, things have changed a lot in terms of the dynamics between advisory business and the people. And you can hold seminars and you can throw all the stakes and stuff at them that you want. But if you don't entertain them in a way that's not, please understand, I'm not talking about being silly, being a comic or any of that, but you got to be able to do that workshop at a very, very high level. And being able to do that, and then at the end to close or do the ask, and that's a lot of times very difficult for us. That's a part of that process of this new nuance that I would say that's been around at least for me for the last 5 years that I've seen that
Mhm.
has been really a different thing. So I work on doing the workshop. I know the workshop, but I believe on doing the workshop, trying to critique it, make it better. And I work on the close to make the close better.
Mhm.
Uh, and I'm going to continue to do it. You know what I mean? And I think it's great, but it sets up an expectation also for when them to come and see you. And
Mhm.
so if you do it to me correctly, whatever that is, and we don't have anything to base that on, but if you do it correctly, it makes them feel comfortable to come see you that they're dealing with a high level professional. And these are the things that I can expect. And if you can deliver that in the workshop, so to speak, then that gives them the idea, hey, well, then maybe he will do this as opposed to do some kind of bait and switch because everybody's always like, what are you trying to sell me?
Oh,
They already,
exactly. Exactly. Well, and
so
I love
that's,
that. So I want to highlight a couple of the things that you said in there too, because I've seen the same thing. And actually, if you look at the investor surveys, it does come out that way that what people want is a deeper relationship,
mhm.
and then they have the basic information. We all have the internet in our pockets. I could ask
Right.
Google, or I could even ask Chat GPT a question, and it'll give me a rote answer. What I want to know is so the things I tell people, and this is something you've done in your workshops, is number one, you have to be productive. If I come into your meeting, I better leave educated
Yes.
and interested in that education, right? Because if you went into the nuances of annuities, nobody would care about that education.
No, right, not at all.
But what you're talking about, and one of the things that you've done is you've taken that Social Security discussion and moved it into the overall income
Yeah,
discussion, right? Yes, Social Security is a piece of the puzzle, and we were just fixing that piece, but the overall puzzle is what Stone Financial takes care of. So that I love that, and then the other piece that people want are those deeper relationships. And so what you're doing is you're removing the fluff, you're removing the whatever the finery and all that, and saying, no, this is about you and me, right? This is
mhm,
about us, and you're connecting with the people in your workshops. And I know that because, and you haven't told me this, but I know it because you tell me about the people that attend your workshops. And you're
yes,
able to describe them. And
yeah,
so I know that you've connected, because if you were just talking at a room, you wouldn't be able to describe each person in that room, but you are. And so you're connecting to them, and those are the two things that are going to make the seminars most successful. So, yes, serve dinner if that's what you do. If that is what works in your area, great. If no dinner works for you, don't do dinner. If a college classroom is what works best for you, by all means, but you still have to have those two things in place, and nothing can get in the way of it. And
yes.
that's what you've done here. So let's talk about so Barb is in the seminars, and what's her job at the seminar?
Well, Barb's job actually is twofold. She really helps set up everything to get it done, set up for when they come in. She's again the first person they greet when that they come in to. They have to sign in, take their name tag, and all of those kinds of things. Then when they walk through the door, if you will, that's when I greet them and say, "Go over and get some chips and a drink," and da da da. Then Barb will come back in and she'll engage them before I even come up and talk to them about some of the do's and don'ts, like cut that phone off and all this other stuff,
Yeah, yeah,
in her way, right? And
yeah.
so she does that, and then she also has our packet for people to take it when they leave if they want an appointment. And
Perfect.
so then I also allude to her is that she's going to be the person when you sign up for an appointment and don't go back with it, but give her the paper, she's going to call you in the morning. So she's the one that calls them right in the morning. So again, there's a familiarity already that we're building up with the people so they'll know, okay, Barb's going to call me. So I know to, expect that. And here's the things that we're going to be doing as a continual of this meeting that we just had.
Oh, I
And
love it.
so, and then she helps shut everything down, get me all wrapped up, and get me out of there. And then we just go on, and again, we do a small debrief usually right there, about 10 or 15 minutes of a little bit of debrief. And then after that, we come in the morning and then we do our debrief, and then bang, we get right on top of it.
That's awesome. I love that, and because so many people have their team there, but they sit in the back corner and they're quiet and just taking notes, which Barb does. But at the same time, she is, like you said, that familiarity has been built, and that is absolutely critical in those seminars, to in order to get the appointments, right? Because I'm already got a hurdle to overcome in order to say yes, I'm going to go sit down with Ken.
Yes.
And so
Mhm.
you're already overcoming those hurdles. So I love that, and that's critical. Um, I want to talk about the final point, and then we'll open it up for Q&A, and then I kind of I've some maybe some other thoughts too that we'll discuss. But
Okay.
and that is that one of the things that a lot of advisors are uncomfortable doing, and this is something that you've become very comfortable in doing, and that is talking about what it is you do and not being shy about it. And it has to do
Yeah.
with the mindset, but um, and this is, you've already mentioned the gym, but
Yeah.
kind of everywhere you go, there's been some of the greats in this industry
Yeah.
are always
Oh,
prospecting, and
yes.
I'd put you in this
Yes.
category as always prospecting. And why don't you define what that is, and then how do you go about it and still get invited to things?
Well, you know what I try to do, Matt, is that I don't try to be a nuisance. There's those that prospect that are aggressive. It's kind of like I can't shake your hand and then go, I'm going to call you about this stock idea I've got. You know what I mean, in a generic way, or this other thing that annuity I know you'd love. I can't do that. So I have to meet you as a person, and then really talk to you on your terms about the things that are not necessarily important to you because everybody's surface level in the beginning, but do those little chit chats. And then leave. Don't hang around and like I'm just, waiting to, like a mosquito. I'm gonna suck the blood out of you in a moment's notice. And so you don't do that. And so I don't, it's like one guy said, you don't go golfing. And I've tried to be a golfer, but not very well. But he said, it's not etiquette to golf with somebody and then call them up the next day, like, look, can I have your account?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
What I mean?
exactly.
But people do that, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? So you gotta say no, and you gotta slowly build relationships. Now, let me tell you, when I was younger, that stuff runs me crazy. I don't have time for that. I'm trying to bring clients to the firm, so I need something to happen now. But
yeah,
now, being in a different position, I still would say, even for somebody who's young and thirsty, you need to just, kind of be yourself, be nice and be thoughtful. Those are the things that I think are more important than being overly aggressive in charge. And there may be some people that can do that, and that's okay, but that's not my style. And
mhm.
so I laugh because I said, here I've been at this gym for 20 years and now it almost seems like I'm a hit. Everybody's talking, even though there are other advisors there all around there. Like I said, this is a high net worth gym.
Yeah,
Got people asking me different things, but they see me differently. And
yeah,
it's funny, they'll go, Ken, I know you're in this business. Let me ask you this. Oh, okay, sure. Da 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 da.
yeah.
And we go from there.
That's perfect. I love how you described that because that's actually something I hadn't thought about that that's what the how you do it. But so you came out and attended the Asset Accelerator course, and one of the areas that I talk about in that course, you already had down, so it wasn't really in depth thing for you. But the is the discovery meeting, right?
Yeah.
Where it's
Mhm.
you're having a conversation as an individual with an expertise, but as an individual with an individual, and that means they've got a story, they've got problems, they've got things that they're trying to solve, and they've got successes and they have wonderful things that they've accomplished. And your job in that discovery meeting is to discover all that and
That
then
is
find out what are they trying to get to, what's the obstacle keeping them from that, and how can you get them there. And that's what you're doing. You're sitting in the gym and you're getting to know, you're having a discovery meeting with everybody you sit down with or talk to or that approaches you or anything, is you're starting that process right off the bat. Is that probably an accurate
I,
depiction?
I would say so, but but my thing is, even though with that, Matt, I'm not trying to talk to you all
Yeah.
day. I'm trying to get in and get out. In the sense of, no. What I'm saying is that I think the people appreciate that they can ask me a question and I'm not asking for some blood in return.
Yeah, yeah, you're not gonna keep digging and talking about and
Yeah.
provide education or talk to them about how an annuity would solve
Oh,
the problem they brought up. You're just giving an answer.
yes.
Yeah,
And if I can help, like I've got a gentleman now that asked me a question that really is a long-term care question in that realm. And
mhm,
and the answer for him actually is going to involve somebody else I know, but I'm going to go back to him and I'm saying, hey, listen, here's I thought about what you asked me. And at the time, the answer was sort of like this. However, I did do some checking for you, and here's something that you can do. And I'll be more than glad to share the reference with you so you can go ahead and da da da. Well, that creates goodwill, man. I mean, so if there's anything that he could possibly do for me down the road, I'm almost certain he'll want to do that. But I'm
yeah,
not doing it because I need him to do that. I do want to help him. And
yeah,
he's in a situation.
yeah. Oh, definitely, I love that, and that is perfect. So those are the 5 big key areas that I wanted to make sure we talked about, but I'm gonna surprise you with one, and we've talked about it before, but and it has to do with this proper mindset, and it's the fact that we mentioned it earlier in the call, that you do focus on this continually learning and trying to better your game in every part of the business, and, you know, you've attended a lot of different things. Now, so
Yes.
what are some of the things that you would say? So if you're looking at advisors out there and you're talking to this group of folks, and this is not me say, hey, pitch Bill good. This I want the Ken Stone answer. What are some of the things that you would say, hey, look, like here's some of the key things advisors really do need to become expert in or be looking at in order to better their game?
Well, I would say this, Matt. I'll put it this way. I'm the been there, done that, bought it guy. And so I've got history to be able to tell somebody that's not good, this is good.
Yeah.
But what I would say this, and I will say this for Bill Good, and you didn't ask me, but this is the truth. Out of the 20 plus years that we've been working together, Bill Good, I have been there, done that, bought that. But the one thing I refuse to leave is Bill Good because it's always worked, And the one thing I think Bill Good does better than anyone else, I go to other conferences, you're correct, and I'll see people that'll have 10 or 15 people on their team, and they're not even producing the same kind of money that I'm producing. And I'm thinking, oh my God, that's got to be so stressful. Well, Bill can tell you how you can take this thing and run it up a flagpole with two or three different people, with just two or three people. And
Mhm.
it's but you know what you're supposed to be doing. And if you follow the book, so to speak, it works. I gotta say that because that's the truth. That is really the truth. And I made more money through those letter library than anything else. So but I would tell people this. I think that we are in such a dynamic business. I know people say this, but what I'm saying is you can pick out a niche or an area that that you like and and as long as it's helping solve a person's problem or challenge or something like that, and you genuinely like it, trust me, there's 331 million people in America. We
Mhm.
don't even need that many to, I do well by doing good by other people. And
Mhm.
that to me is a big deal to me. And so with that, being the best that I can be, because it's very competitive and it's very difficult sometimes for people to be able to pick out a good advisor versus the bad one. But I can tell you sometimes the knowledge difference or the knowledge base of us learning how to go through the accelerator, where we sit down and we role play. Here's some of the questions you want to ask. Why do you want to ask those questions? And sometimes make us a little bit uncomfortable. You can be young in the business or you can be old in the business. And you get to a point where you don't want to ask certain questions because you don't want to hear the answer. Well, you probably want to hear the answer up front to save you some time versus you can be old and strung along just like you're young and strung along.
Yeah.
So my thing is that you want to continually get better knowledge and education in terms of what you do and how you do it. It makes a ton of difference. I made so much money really when we go up against other people that when I say, well, you really can do this. Were you aware of that? No. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. There is a difference, and then people
Yeah.
start to pick that thing up that, yeah, there is a difference about how you really can do things, but it's all based on the fact that you want to continue to learn, you want to continue to get better. And the last thing I'll say, you need to because today the nuances change, man.
Mhm.
These people out here today, you have to help them get out of their way. They desperately need us. They
Yeah.
desperately need us, but they're so confused, so misunderstood, misguided. They misguide themselves. Even at
Mhm.
my
Oh, yeah.
workshop, I'll tell you this. I tell people, I said, don't come and see me if you're a know-it-all. I said, don't waste my time. If you want to show up and try to tell your spouse how great you are, I said, and the saddest thing about that, I said, most of the time there's a glaring hole right there that they can't see it, but I'm not going to fight you over it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's the stuff you see, but the
Yeah.
people still need our help.
Yes, they do, most definitely. And so for those listening, if you don't know the Asset Accelerator course, we'll put a link in the chat. But it's just a course I teach that walks through everything from finding leads all the way down to the close and welcoming them on as a client. And Ken has attended, and what I tell everybody who attends is, look, like I don't expect you to every last piece of it for you to pick up something new, but I hope you'll pick up something new or at least a few things new to add into your process. And Ken already had a great process, and I feel like you picked up a couple of things that
Oh,
maybe you could add in there, and so that's all good. So do look at that. So we had this question, and actually, it's a great question because I was like, I'm going to end on this because this is the mindset.
okay.
So
Yeah.
so far year to date, when you and I last spoke, you said we're bringing in 10 million uh,
Yeah.
year to date, and what's the goal? What's the mindset? Where are we taking this thing?
Well, I'm looking to try to do 30, 35 million this year.
Great.
I'm really and the good thing is it's funny. It just seems like the mindset is it. You know what I mean? In terms of when you're ready, it will come. How about
Yeah.
that?
Oh, exactly. So three-person team
Yeah.
shooting for 35 million. You're well on your way to hitting that. Um,
Mhm.
Ken, I really appreciate it. For those that have listened through the whole thing, which pretty much everybody has, and that just testament to you, Ken. I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you.
Is now it's time for the goodie bag. Like I said, there's two parts to this goodie bag. Um, answer a few questions. In those questions, it's going to ask you if you want an evaluation and analysis on how your business is going, and what they'll do is a team member will go through every piece of the business, just like Ken has done, and see where, okay, where can we add something to it, and where are you good to go, like where are things great, and let's not leave it, let's not mess with a good thing. Let's just go to those areas that we can help improve on. So you can either do the QR code, take your camera and take a picture of that. It is also in the chat, a link to it, so you can go there. Or if you're really excited, you can go in and type in to the URL field, the bgmtips.com/mindset, and get the referral guidebook there. So while everybody's doing that, Ken, I really do appreciate it. I know this is a Thursday. You're a busy man. You got a lot of stuff going. I appreciate you spending a moment
Oh
sharing
my
your
goodness.
wisdom and experience. Um, Always a pleasure, my friend.
Oh, yes, it is. And it was great. And I enjoyed it. And we'll have to do it again.
Definitely will do. Yeah, we'll talk next year, and it'll be even bigger numbers because it's an even bigger
Yes.
mindset.
Got it. Take
Awesome.
care.
Great. Thanks, Ken.
All right. Thank you.